We've come to the Brewhouse quite a few times a year. Lots of times is with activities for the kids. Like today that they were doing some bounting. So Ferran, that is my son, sat next to me. He's been learning to use a sewing machine for the first time. And he's been shown how to use the fabric and how a sewing machine works. And you're enjoying it, are you, Ferran? You're just going out shy.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, we've come to the Summer Fest as well before, where the Brewhouse takes part of it, and they do lots of activities for kids, and it's brilliant. And we've got here to the theatre as well to see some productions for children and for adults. Which ones have we seen?
The one where they throw out all the sweets.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of them. They throw lots of sweets. You remember that?
Yeah.
A very fond memory, and I know the cafe as well was lovely. Because we used to meet up a group of mums from the city, so we used to gather together because of the bigger space that you had, and with the little kids and all the high chairs, we were able to have a chat and meet other people. So that has always been, a fun memory that I've got about it. In between swimming, we used to come here when you were very little, and sit on the high chairs to feed.
So big up. No, just cut a circle.
You want to cut a circle?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing we pick up is the Arts and Culture magazine, which of course is run by what's called Siki. I think, excuse the pronunciation, I think people pronounce it in various ways, and we're delighted with that because it's actually an extension of the church where we worship. Their hall is taken over by Sikik, and it's a beautifully refurbished hall, and we've been there on several occasions, not just for coffee but for events, but not the evening events, mainly the day events. And I even troop up there for French, which is a U3A organisation. So, that's a super arts centre. We're aware of Tachi, I don't even know how to say the other one, Tachi something, but we haven't actually been. And of course the museum offers another kind of arts centre, and we can never wait quickly enough to get to see what's on, etc., etc. We tend to be a bit more on the classical side, I have to say, but that's because we couldn't spend a huge amount of money, so we choose fairly carefully. So music goes high, more classical music. But one of our favourites are the actual transmissions from, in this case here it seems to be London, but we're also great fans of the Met in New York for opera, which I don't think we've seen here as yet, but we like the plays and we like any music productions. We haven't seen the ballet productions, but that's because we can't be here for everything, but we'd certainly support it and delight in its actual what's it called? Programme, that's the one. Delight in its programme. We need a creative society.
We do need a creative society to make it balanced society and more humane. That's very important. Very important.
We're box office volunteers, so we take bookings on the phone or help people with problems or queries about where to sit, and sometimes even visitors to the town who've come in and asked what there is on here, so we can help them with that.
I'm here now because sadly the Brewhouse actually closed for a couple of years, and 3 years I think it was in all, and that's made a huge difference in the town. I think a lot of people would say the same thing, and I wanted to put something back in and help out. I wasn't anything to do with setting it up again, but I felt I could give something in a small way to volunteer actually working it now. So that's why I'm here. I like a variety of things. I like the theatrical bit, the plays, and I like music as well. I like the concerts that come here. We've had ballet too, a very small stage, but the ballet is good here as well. So it's real right. And when our children were little, it was excellent. It still is. It's very good to bring children to shows here too. They get sold out. A lot of things get sold out. But yes, that's what I like.
I can vaguely remember I can't remember exactly, but I can remember that my parents got quite excited and thought, oh, better go to the theatre. And the play that was on was an Alan Ayckbourn. I can't remember which one, but I know it had David Jason in it. So we all came to see that. And I could remember it quite clearly, because I suppose it was the first time I'd been here. And it was good fun. It was very funny. And he's still going strong. I can't believe it after all these years.
Well, I think what has happened in a very short period of time is that the management team have taken a view on programming work that has a real balance for different audiences that can generate an income for the organisation to help make it sustainable, to go into its reserves and to build up a solid commercial base. So that is more commercially popular events like comedians and music and things like that, and stuff that sells out. That gives a financial base for the charity to be able to operate. So that commercial sustainability is really important, particularly as subsidy from the likes of Taunton Dean or other grant givers is never guaranteed, and probably can't rely on it to be increased ever, nor should you rely on it ever to be increased. But as well as that, the hard thing that a venue has to do is to build new audiences and build different audiences, and also to provide the community, young people, old people, whoever, with activities to do that aren't necessarily just around watching performances. So building those audiences and building those participants for different things takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of investment in time, and it takes investment in time in building relationships, so that what might look like a piece of drama, a piece of theatre in the studio that at the moment maybe isn't selling loads and loads of tickets, that's not to say in 5 or 10 years, when an audience has been built, that will be the case in the future. In fact, what you would hope is that as more and more people get used to the fact that Brewhouse is offering something different that is for them, that isn't just tribute or comedy or dance or whatever, that they still maintain a relationship with the building, and that investment in time and sort of that holding your nerve almost, of thinking, okay, well, in the future there will be an audience for this show. Once that audience comes and commits to the building, then maybe they will take up the rest of or other bits of the offer that is being programmed. Similarly with the participation program, building a sustainable commitment from young people through a youth theatre or other young people's activities. Once you start having young people who are regularly coming and committing to the building and the offer of the building, young people bring parents, and young people bring friends, and young people bring families, who then may be interested in other bits of the programme as well. You have nothing better than a young person as a strong advocate for your work when they'll go back to school or they'll go home and they'll say, oh, I've just been at the Brewhouse and had a brilliant time.
If I ruled the world, I'd definitely put the arts right at the centre of town and urban planning. I think that the knock-on impacts of arts are, although they're a lot less tangible than like other things, it makes a place, I think especially moving arts into public spaces and improving those public spaces and getting more and more people to kind of engage with creative stuff. So for example, here at Brewhouse, as part of our 40th anniversary celebrations in a couple of weeks, we're having a performance of Ride, which is a contemporary dance show, which we're having just outside the front in Somerset Square. So they've got a car and they're doing all of this like parkour on the car, and the idea is that people who wouldn't step foot to come over the threshold and engage with this kind of thing are gonna be, you know, walking to Morrison's, walking to the cricket, going to get some lunch, or on the balconies of their retirement homes, and they'll want to be watching it, and they're going to be engaging with something that they've never engaged with before. And like the way that I think that is incredibly important, because I think that it's those kind of interactions that make, you know, like congregating on the street, people are talking to each other and they create moments, and those kind of moments I think are really like important in order to keep the vitality of a place going. And they also encourage people to care more about their public spaces and care more about community. So yeah, I think if I ruled the world, I would move arts into everywhere, move it all into the street.
Yes, and there's a little, what used to be a church, and it's called Chichik, I think, CIC, and they have
Creative arts, yes.
Creative arts, isn't it? They have all sorts of exhibitions
and
drama and so on there. And there's the Tacky Morris Theatre attached to Heathfield School, which is also quite small, I think. I've only been there once.
It's similar size to here. Bridgewater has a theatre as well, attached to the college.
And Queen's College, I went to a concert at Queen's College last Friday, which was fantastic. And their theatre was quite big. I was surprised how big it was.
Yeah, and the Quantock, music on the Quantocks.
Music on the Quantocks.
That uses very quite well known. It has quite well known people, but uses very small venues, and it has a mailing list. And they only mail to people who actually are on that list, don't they?
Yes.
So they get filled up. And James Galway came last year, and
the 16 are coming.
Well known Craig Ogden, the
out.
guitarist, has been, and there's another guitarist coming this weekend who sold out the first day and is having in the second day. So there's quite a lot going on here, but it's good the theatre's come back really good.
You've got to sort of prize it out. Yes.
Taunton's not very good at advertising. I don't think Taunton's very good. It's got more things. Somebody runs a bookshop here, and he has a literary festival in Bath Place, a little alleyway, which has a lot of specialist shops in it, and that works very well, doesn't it?
Yes.
And he also writes some little small publication of what's on in the area as well, which is good. There is a lot.
Sounds as though there's an awful lot going on, but it's just finding it. And
this area is going to be developed as well around here. The car park is actually going. And there has been talk of creating a slightly bigger theatre, but I don't know what the actual decision has been.
No, it's normally sort of around Christmas, Halloween, normally celebrations. Like we came for the Santa in Love at Christmas, but we've seen that there was sort of a free event, because a lot of the guys that come to us sort of don't have a lot of money. So yeah, this is really good for them to get out and do other stuff.
I'm gonna make the bit of the flag for the bunting. Yeah, we got to do it on the sewing machine.
I like coming here.
Have you done sewing before?
Yeah, I've done sewing before. We're doing it for 40th anniversary, aren't we? And Sarah's got a daughter called Rosie. She does a Gantt show every year. She does it here with people who with learning disabilities. And she does that with the guides. Yeah. I like singing and listening to music. I do.
What probably needs to happen in Taunton is it needs to understand how to encourage artists and theatre makers to come to the town, as well as to try and build audiences for the work. What the Brewhouse and the Tacky both do really well is programme work that is made elsewhere in other parts of the country or the world, and audiences will come and see that work, and it's dance, it's theatre, it's music, it's whatever. Visual arts also in terms of the Brewhouse. And that's really great, but in order for the town to really grow and become a culturally strong place, like I say, there needs to be an understanding and a conversation about how companies like my company, and not just my company, but my company, but other artists and theatre makers, maybe from Somerset or not from Somerset even, what's in it for them to come and make work in Taunton and be based in the county town, and to work with the communities that are here, so that when work is made here and it's performed in the town, it's performed at the Brewhouse or wherever, but then it goes elsewhere, it goes to other parts of the county, it goes to other parts of the region, it goes to other parts of the country. If it's started in Taunton, if there's been an aspect of creation here, then that will make it a culturally even stronger place. So you facilitate that by talking to artists about what they need to make work, what facilities, what resources, what help, what ideas there are, what makes Taunton an inspiring place, and then you look at how that can happen.
Where each spring there's a big get together with all the take art venues around Somerset, and we look at the brochure and we decide on who we'd like to come and visit our village hall. It's mostly in village halls, I think sometimes in churches, and it's fantastic, great fun, and we've had some very good acts, we've had a lot of music, there's drama, and it is subsidised. I think you choose one full price show and one subsidised you can have during the year, or more if you think you can get enough people to come and watch, and our village hall usually fills up very nicely and it's good fun.
Like I've got grandparents, I've got my grandparents' friends, I've got lots of people like that, and I know that for them retirement has been, and old age in general, has been quite hard. I think it's been because you leave the world of work, which is how you've kind of defined yourself as a person, and then once you leave and you stop doing that, then there can be a bit of a gap in like your sense of self-worth. And I think for lots of people, they can find, like, the arts can help people find that in different ways. So I know that with one of my granddads, he when he retired, he ended up taking up woodworking, and that was a real source of he improved at something, he got better, and he found this new passion, which I think the places and art, like centres for arts, can really do that as well for older people. And they also act as a social, like someone like the Brewhouse acts as a social hub, so people can meet each other, and it encourages all of those kind of people bumping into each other, and like it encourages conversations to happen. It also encourages like intergenerational bonding, but it's also just quite exciting and quite different and new, and it can provide a way for people to find new interests as they get older, which is, I think, not to be discounted, especially like somewhere like Taunton, where lots of people come when they retire.
As artists in residence, the artist in residence for the museum, the project is, I'm kind of the sort of poet side of this, and I'm kind of getting wordy responses from people. So I'm doing a couple of different interventions. One of which is these little boxes, the poetry boxes, asking people to write poems, and they're tagged all around the town in the green spaces, and they're just on benches. and there's a book in a box, and they look like somebody's left something. So people are intrigued. What's that? They see the box, they open it, and there's a book inside, and it says "Write Poetry in Me." And generally, people do, which is fantastic. And so that's one of the things I'm doing. There's 6 little boxes around the town, and the other one is to I've done surveys to actually sort of capture the idea of what Tauntonness is. So the surveys ask little questions like, name a colour which would describe light coming through the Willow Cathedral at Longman Meadow. Really simple little questions that kind of make you think a little bit about Taunton, about what is Taunton, and how you. I mean, one of them is about name 3 wishes that you'd like to change about Taunton. So there's some kind of practical words, some kind of really a little bit more off the wall, but all of them are designed to kind of make you think. And out of that, I've been getting some really interesting responses of people, having really lovely answers to, one of the questions is, where's the furthest you've been from here? And, and what was just the same? And one of the answers was, the furthest I've been is LA, and the buses rattle just the same. And I love that because it's sort of like, that means our buses are actually Hollywood standard, or our Hollywood buses Taunton standard. I've started to put a poem together for this project, which has come out of the surveys and and it's not finished. So it's it's kind of a work in progress. Is Taunton more pie than flam? Is it more sweet than savoury or sour? What shape of bloom is Taunton flower? Is this a place more of starters than desserts? Is it more about independence than over-eager converts? Is it more morning, evening, or gathering dusk? Is it more slow burn than boom and bust? Is it more Barber jackets than sandals with socks? Or more blind mice than grandfather clocks? Is it more signalling left than turning right? More crochet blankets than bumps in the night? Is it more glove on the railing than teddy in the gutter? Is it more jam with cream than tea and cakes with butter? More Greek myths and martial arts, more Haynes manual than the sum of its parts? Is Taunton more soup than stew, more 7-Up than iron brew? Is it more witches' knickers than ducking stools? Is it more plodding onward than harking back? Is it more team material than leader of the pack? Is it more middle brother than the spiteful aunt, or more nimble fordster than the might of heavy plant? Is it more mate than the captain, more plate than the platter, more rabbit than the hatter, more dentist than the decay, more lead actors than the play? Less atonement, more the cure, less the bait or the lure, less the cathedral, more about the willow, more about the company than the pillow.